When I first moved to the quaint coastal village, the locals were oddly tight-lipped about the old lighthouse that stood sentinel at the edge of the sea. I was drawn to its eerie yet majestic presence, especially since my new cottage was within sight of its beam. The villagers whispered their warnings, but I dismissed them as small-town superstition. Then, one fog-draped evening, I ventured to the lighthouse and met the keeper, an elderly man with eyes like storm clouds, who welcomed me warmly. Night after night, we spoke, his stories of the sea both enchanting and unnerving. Yet, a thread of unease wove through our conversations, a subtle fear that I couldn't quite pin down. As the days turned into weeks, I noticed peculiar inconsistencies, how he never seemed to age, how he knew things about the village's history that no one else did. My curiosity overcame caution, and I began to ask around about him. Faces turned pale, and voices dropped to whispers. Finally, the baker's wife, an old woman with a reputation for knowing everyone's business, pulled me aside. Her eyes were wide with fear as she told me the lighthouse keeper had died decades ago, lost at sea during a ferocious storm. My blood ran cold, but stubborn skepticism urged me back to the lighthouse that very night. My heart pounded as I climbed the spiral stairs, each creak echoing in the empty tower. I found the room at the top deserted, dust thick on the surfaces, as if untouched for years. Yet, the old man's voice greeted me as I stepped into the chamber, his ghostly form materializing from the shadows. He seemed as real as ever, recounting tales of shipwrecks and lost souls. I realized then that he was trapped in a time loop of his own making, his spirit forever bound to the lighthouse, reliving his final days. In the chilling climax, he asked me to help him find peace, his spectral hand reaching for mine. Trembling, I agreed, and he recounted the coordinates of his watery grave. The next day, I hired a boat and scattered flowers over the waves where he had perished. That night, I returned to the lighthouse one last time. The air was thick with a serene stillness, and for the first time, the beam of light shone steadily out to sea, guiding ships through the foggy night. The spectral keeper was gone, his nightly vigil finally at rest. But as I walked back to my cottage, I couldn't shake the feeling that the village held more secrets, waiting silently beneath the waves.